There's been a lot of pressure on us adults these past few years.
Working from home, homeschooling, losing or changing jobs, and navigating the practical realities of the changing COVID traffic lights.
For some of us, that's prompted a kind of COVID life crisis, whether that be making big life changes or just that feeling of being stuck in a rut.
So how do we break out of it?
We all did something weird during lockdown. And the pandemic has done something weird to us.
We've been living for the last more than 2 years now with unrelenting stress.
It's had a huge effect in terms of relationships.
I swear I thought the whole country was about to just combust with burnout.
Now, many of us are making major life changes, like Misha Gildenberger, who quit her advertising job in Auckland, moved to Papamoa and set up a dog training business.
I was just like, oh my God, do I actually want to stay in this job or do I want to, chase my dream? And my dream was working with dogs.
Mentally, many of us are still feeling, well, like crap. Nigel Beach is a physiotherapist and health consultant.
Like a lot of people, our age, I've just had that feeling like I'm not going anywhere, like nothing's happening. How can I snap out of it?
How you're feeling right now is entirely logical. That's an entirely ordered nervous system responding to this newly built environment. So what we need to do is do some things which are going to reset that nervous system.
A reset sounds good. More on that later. But first, I want to know the official term for what is happening to us. Jackie Maguire is a clinical psychologist.
I think if we were to look at the predominant state of people over the last 2.5 years, you would find languishing was very prevalent. The definition from the researcher who coined that term would say it's that you're feeling empty, you're leading a life of stagnation, or in my terms, you're meh.
So we are languishing. We're languishing.
A lot of people are. Not everyone, but a lot of people are.
Divorce coach Bridget Jackson says relationships are languishing too.
I would think that in terms of my business, there's been a 40% increase in people separating. So I've had a lot of people coming to me saying, Bridget, we want to separate, but can you help us to actually be able to live together, whether that's upstairs and downstairs or, obviously in the same house. And what are the rules and the boundaries for people? Because, when third parties come into play, what is that going to look like? We need to avoid a car crash.
Then there's our work. Jared Ha, a professor of human resources, is an expert on that.
I've heard somebody who had burnout talk about opening up a laptop, putting their hand on a mouse and literally going, I don't know how that thing works. And then realizing, I've got a major problem and I need to go see a GP. But we do need to kind of be perhaps a bit more tolerant around certain things, around productivity and perhaps expectation.
Rocket's been barking her head off while I've been trying to do the interview, but she should have just been out here.
I'm sure if we had you hooked up to a machine, your blood pressure would be going down, the positive chemicals in your brain would be lighting up.
So, other than beautiful dogs, how do we break out of it? Psychiatrist Hinimoa Elder says there is a Māori mental health model called Te Whare Tapawhā that can help.
It's a mind picture, a house, a building with 4 walls. The tinana, the hinengaro, te whānau, te wairua are all in these separate compartments. But of course, to make a house, to make a whare, they all have to work together. If your structure doesn't have harmony of those 4 aspects, it's not going to be stable.
Improving taha tinana, physical health, does not need to be hard.
So get outside every day. Being in nature for 20 minutes drops your cortisol levels by 16%. Cortisol's that stress hormone. What are the things that make you laugh and that bring you joy? Are you a gardener? Are you a knitter? Do you enjoy playing the piano? Do you like me, snuggling in bed and reading stories to your kids at night?
Taha wairua, spiritual health, does not need to be religious.
I often describe it as the vibe, our gut, our sense of intuition.
And taha whānau, our social well-being, is all about connections.
Focus on the people that are important to you. So if you've got people in your surrounding, in your city, that you're wanting to nurture that relationship, get out and do something that you haven't done before.
Using them together collaboratively in a way to check in with yourself. It's a very useful tool.
Nigel is a rehab expert who works with top-level sports people like many All Blacks. He says sometimes our body needs a reset to break the mental malaise, and his version of that involves cold water.
We would have elevated our adrenaline, things that bring back a real clarity into us.
He reckons heat can work too. Should I put this on?
That's it, Paddy. You'll be thanking me later, because this hat, not only is it visually fetching, but it's actually going to insulate your head, so it won't feel the heat. The heat is great, but we can't let it linger. We've then got to seal it off with one of your favourites, an ice bath. Just breathe through the nose, brother. Through the nose. You got it, Paddy.
But how you stop languishing, end that COVID life crisis, and rebuild your te whare tapawhā is up to you. And maybe it means going big with major change.
Don't think twice, don't hesitate, don't think, oh, what if I couldn't do it, and then you just regret it, so just go and do it.
Or maybe the answer is in our own past.
People have to look at their past and go, what has helped you then? Are there any clues to what you could add back in now?
Well, I always did like swimming in the sea.